They thought they could buy me. They thought they could buy Africa. They were wrong. 3 weeks ago, Benjamin Netanyahu's government sent me a letter that changed everything, not just for Burkina Faso, but for this entire continent. And today, I will tell you exactly what happened, because the world needs to hear this story. I was in my office reviewing security reports when my aide handed me an envelope marked diplomatic correspondence, confidential. I opened it, and inside was a proposal that made my blood boil. Israel was offering Burkina Faso $1.2 billion. That's more than our entire national budget. But let me be clear, this wasn't aid, this was a bribe. They wanted me to stop criticizing their policies. They wanted me to convince other African leaders to go soft on Palestine. They wanted me to become their mouthpiece in the African Union. And here's the part that reveals their desperation. They wanted me to keep their business operations in Africa safe, untouched, and unchallenged. For that, they even offered a few more billions on top of everything else. Think about that for a moment. They were so terrified of losing their African business networks that they were ready to pay billions just to silence one soldier. But I am not for sale. My people are not for sale. Africa is not for sale. I read that letter 3 times. Each time my anger grew. These people had misunderstood me completely. I didn't stage a revolution to become another puppet. I didn't risk my life overthrowing a corrupt regime to become corrupt myself. I am a soldier, and soldiers do not negotiate with those who try to compromise their mission. And my mission is clear: African sovereignty, economic, political, and strategic. When I took power in Burkina Faso, I promised my people no more foreign interference, no more exploitation disguised as partnership, no more selling our dignity for temporary comfort. That letter was a test, and I passed it. They didn't just send me a letter, they sent messengers, high-ranking officials from neighboring countries, so-called friendly advisors, all whispering the same thing. Think of the hospitals, think of the new roads, think of the modern army you could build. But at the end of every conversation, the condition was the same: tone down your criticism of Israel. That's when I knew this wasn't just one letter. This was a campaign. They studied me, profiled me, thought they knew my weakness. They miscalculated. So I did the one thing they never expected. I went live on television. I held that letter in my hands and I read every word. I exposed them, word for word, line for line. And when the cameras were on me, I looked straight at the world and said, they believe our dignity has a price tag. They think African leaders are employees in a global marketplace. Today, we prove them wrong. The silence in that press room was thunderous. Journalists who had covered Africa for decades told me later they had never seen anything like it. A leader exposing billions in bribes live on TV. And within hours, the continent erupted. Africa is not for sale was trending in 14 countries. But this was more than social media. Mali reviewed every Israeli contract. Niger recalled their ambassador. Chad suspended talks. Ghana, a country that usually avoids sides, publicly supported our stand. South Africa called our action a masterclass in dignity. And the youth rose up like never before. Students in Senegal protested, demanding transparency and aid. Kenyan youth started questioning every foreign deal. Artists painted murals of resistance. Universities echoed with chants of unity. From Cairo to Cape Town, Africa's young people stood up and said, "We are not for sale." They called themselves the uncompromised generation. And they are right. Of course, foreign capitals panicked. Netanyahu's office went into crisis mode. Paris scrambled. Washington called to see if this was the start of something bigger. China said nothing, but they understood. Respect, not manipulation, is the future. The truth is, this is not the Africa they used to manipulate. We are educated now. We are connected now. We communicate instantly across borders. When one of us rises, all of us can see it in real time. The old playbook is dead. You cannot divide us with secret deals. You cannot silence us with aid. You cannot treat us like children anymore. We see you, and we refuse to play your game. Yes, the backlash came. Aid delays, banking pressure, economic threats. But do you know what else happened? Africa stepped up. Nigeria offered trade deals. Ghana provided banking channels. South Africa opened new diplomatic doors. We discovered something powerful. Africa helping Africa works. A few days later, I stood in front of 5,000 students in Bobo Dioulasso. No script, no ceremony, just truth. I asked them, do we go back to silence, or do we speak louder? The roar that came back was deafening. They demanded action, and I gave them a vision. Audit every foreign contract, build African trade networks, stop exporting raw materials, start building factories. Create African banks, African satellites, African universities, African pharmaceutical companies, African technology hubs. And they cheered because at last, someone was saying what needed to be said. Real independence means economic independence. Now every shady deal risks exposure. Every bribe risks becoming tomorrow's headline. Every exploitation is one speech away from collapse. And here is the truth I want the world to hear. We are not against business, we are against exploitation. Those who pay fair wages, respect our environment, and invest in our people are welcome. Those who seek to plunder, leave, or be exposed. Israel thought they were buying one president. Instead, they awakened 1.4 billion Africans. That was their mistake, and our victory. This revolution is not with guns, but with dignity. Not with violence, but with truth. Not with foreign approval, but with African unity. Not with protecting their empires, but with building our own prosperity. This is my message, and I say it without fear. Africa is not for sale. Never was, never will be, and any leader who tries to sell us out will answer to the people. This is Ibrahim Traoré, and this is our time. Africa is rising, and we are just getting started.